So are you doing up to the after the cadenza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to start after that.
No, I think it's a good chunk. Yeah.
Okay.
It takes about 7 minutes, I would say, right? I mean, you guys can play if you. I think we're just waiting for him.
Playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can keep playing, that will actually help.
Okay. I think you want some sound check. Okay. Will you give me the little interlude and then I'll come in after 3?
Okay.
I guess we could. Oh yeah. I'll do just before. Yeah. You okay?
Can't think of anything else to do unless you want to do it again.
You can play it in a different key.
We played in one key, I'll play another one, even better.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Cool. So I will stand over here.
Yeah.
To see him.
And maybe so you can see your.
Yeah. Can VADIM.
He's muted. And I can hear you, so he should hear you.
Can you do it so we do the talk right now?
Right. So
At the beginning and then change.
and we should.
Do you hear me?
Can I unmute here, just on the laptop for a second? First, let's try.
So you should be able to hear us two different ways. Can you hear us, Vadim?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So let's make sure it's working here. Could you say something again?
Speaking. Speaking.
And he's not muted, right?
No. One more time.
Still speaking.
Now I can hear you.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Oh my God, what an echo.
We just put you on a speaker here because so what we're doing is, you know, we have the rest of the participants listening in the hall. So what we'll do when people play, we'll mute you and us, so you can hear the sound. This is Mike Cardinal.
We kind of have to switch between performance mode and then a discussion mode. And what I'll have to do is I'll have to manually mute us because we're playing through a speaker because it thinks we're using headphones, so that you don't get the echo that you're getting now. In other words, it will be like this. This is you talking.
This is me talking.
Say something again.
Speaking.
And you didn't hear an echo then, right?
I heard nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Good. So it's just we're trying to give you like really high-end audio, but once we speak, that might not be the case. Just for the first run through, you'll get really high-quality audio. Does that make sense? And then
You mean you will have to mute me? Could you turn this off for now?
yeah. So when people play through at the beginning, we'll probably mute you. And then once they're done, we'll go to this like back and forth mode. At least that's what we did yesterday, and it seemed to work. You know, that's the reason is otherwise you can't get the high-end audio to you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Is that necessary?
No, it should work. So it's just so you know how we're doing it. And then
It's fine. But when I speak, I will be able to have a discussion, not like this.
yeah, exactly. But it's just for the first run through. We'll just make sure that all the good audio goes to you.
And if you have headphones, it will be better because it will be in stereo. It should be really high quality.
Like my speaker here.
Okay, right. And then just a heads up, the Sibelius, I'm thinking up to after the cadenza, so we have more since each has.
How much time for every kid?
30 minutes.
Well, then I would say up to cadenza.
Up to cadenza, okay.
I see what it's doing. It hears the speakers and thinks we're speaking, so that shouldn't happen when we're doing
Right. Yeah. So up to the cadenza, and then the G minor Adagio, the whole thing should be fine.
Of course.
And then Casey changed from the Fugue to I think Paganini number 20. So that should also be easy. Yeah. And
I don't know any of them, so that's better.
yeah, so that's fine. And then Olivia is doing the Zigeunerweisen, and I made some cuts in the opening part, so she can play both some of the slow and some of the fast. Does that make sense?
I don't hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just made a little cut in the beginning part so we can do both, and we should be good on time. And then do you want me to like give you like a 5-minute warning?
Please.
Yeah.
Please, I do get carried away.
Yes.
And is there a Q&A after?
Yeah, we can try it. Let's keep everybody a little bit before 30 minutes, so we'll have a few minutes at the end for some Q&A.
Let's say 25.
Yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
So if you could just count to 10, we're having a little bit of an odd thing here, but I think when we're doing this mute back and forth, it should work. So count to 10 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And then in
Great.
and then in Russian. No, I'm just kidding. And then I'll do it in Danish. And then
And
we'll,
Yeah.
French.
yeah. So
We had this discussion with the last,
yeah.
it's like we had, what, 10 languages?
I know,
represented,
I know.
something like that?
But in any case, yesterday it worked really well with Phil. Like he was able to hear details. So I think this way it's a little bit more complicated, but it works. So you have actually detailed sound to listen to, and not just like so. But you can see we are in Libby Gardner stage. So where you were.
So just to make sure, when I will be talking to the kids, I will not be hearing myself like I do now. Okay.
Be clean, yeah. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes and then we can get going. So are you in Chicago right now, or
Yeah.
are you doing is it Ravinia? Are you doing Ravinia or is it?
No, I
Oh, that's right. I keep
I
forgetting.
we just finished our festival
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Okay, nice. Because I remember you said you were in. You might have been in. There was a possibility you were going to do this from Spain or something, or.
Right.
Yeah.
It will reschedule itself.
Yeah, I know. So, okay. Well, let me get. I'll get Hanna up here, and then we can start soon.
While they're playing, could you mute yourself, and I may ask you to mute, so that we don't have
Of course.
For other attendees.
Mm-hmm.
So is it okay? How's it doing?
So can we start, Mike? Okay. So I'm extremely excited to welcome you, VADIM GLUZMAN, to this violin intensive. You can't see it right now, but we have about 20 violinists sitting and listening, and we have 4 people playing today, so we'll try to keep it on time, and I'll maybe give you like a few minute warning. VADIM GLUZMAN probably doesn't need a lot of introduction. One of the most recognizable violinists today, and has played with pretty much every major orchestra. Is a phenomenal player, and we hail from sort of the same region of the world, around the Baltic. I'm just really excited that you're here. So I want to get going to playing as quickly as possible. So let's welcome Hanna Packard, who's going to play the first movement of Sibelius up to the cadenza. Yeah. And we might need a few minutes to change.
We're good.
Okay.
Bravo, beautiful play. And I still hear my own voice, which is quite disturbing to a human being. And now I don't. Wonderful. Do you hear me? But I don't hear you.
Yes, I hear.
Now, and no longer I hear you again. The mute button comes on all the time.
We will have to mute in between so that you don't hear your own voice.
Oh boy. So we cannot have an actual conversation. Can we somehow leave this high definition audio somewhere and go to a normal audio so we can actually have a conversation, please? Meanwhile, I'll start talking or we waste a lot of time. You're a very fine player. You're very musical, and when I saw that you're not playing with a shoulderist, I knew you were my friend right away. Having said that, this is a concerto that suffers from a very painful tradition, and by tradition I mean a performance tradition, interpretive tradition that seems to basically disregard the printed page. And I think it's very, very unfortunate. It is a true masterwork. It's an enormous piece of music, which I think deserves our attention and our respect. And we tend to, I say we because I've done probably 120% of what you have done just now, of things that we do without considering. So I will bring it to your attention, and you will then decide whether this is something you want to consider or not. And yes, having music in front of you would be a very good idea. Without looking at the music, can you please tell me what is the dynamic marking at the beginning?
Mezzo forte?
Correct. And what did you play? Sorry, guys, let's leave this phone. This is impossible. I'm sorry. What did you play?
I played piano.
Why?
I just thought it should start soft.
Do you have a letter from Sibelius saying, my apologies, I made a mistake?
I don't.
No, neither do I. I do think that we should consider that he was right, first of all,
Yeah.
and not wrong. So consider this: the orchestra is playing for you a D minor, and you are playing. You are giving an incredible dissonance with your first note
Yeah.
to seemingly, how do you call it? Easy and relaxed atmosphere. We find out in the fourth bar that there is nothing relaxed about it. But what you do by playing piano, you're fighting it. And he said, mezzo forte.
Okay.
So I would suggest strongly to consider. Otherwise, I feel we are missing and losing the point. Yeah?
Yeah.
Why don't we start from beginning and try to do that first?
Okay.
Meanwhile, is there anything we can do about eliminating that echo? I'm not asking you.
I'm working on it.
This is really terrible. Please. Very good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I know you don't feel comfortable. This is something complete, even physically, I'm sure is foreign to you. Let's try now. Start maybe a little bit smoother without so much attack, and give yourself space to bring the phrase to a high point, which I believe is here. You do see this, right?
Yes.
He must have thought about it. You know, this is the second version of this picture. Yeah, it was premiered, he was not satisfied and rewrote. So he must have given it some consideration.
Yeah.
Yes, he was an alcoholic, but it didn't make him a bad composer. Actually, quite the opposite. So, beginning, let's bring it to the top,
Okay.
please. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is so much better. To my taste, it now has this nerve that I'm looking for, this tension. Very, very good. Jumping forward, there are a few more spots that I need to cover. Going to first forte. Let's be very, very. You weren't too frivolous, but still, it was not quite precise, and I think it's important. Triplet in romantic music is an incredibly powerful gesture, and he gives a very special triplet. Ta, 1, 2, 3, ta, ta, 1, 2, 3, ta. So let's make sure that there is a clear difference between and yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start right on forte. Fa, mi, re, do, re, mi. Very good. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's not stretch the frames of the bar.
Okay.
You especially on the last one. That reminds me of Zigeunerweisen, and I'm not sure this belongs in this music.
Okay.
Yeah, we should stay within the tension is in the, well, for lack of a better word, rigidness of the rhythmical integrity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. We now have a normal way of talking. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Start from here.
Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good. I want to talk to you. I want to ask you something. What is poco forte?
A little more forte.
A little more forte than what? More than what? It can't be just abstract more.
Yeah.
In comparison to what?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question because poco forte is not more forte. Poco in Italian is little.
Okay.
Yeah, poco forte is less forte.
Okay.
So what he's trying to do here is he brought you to the it's not a climax but to the top in forte. He writes diminuendo to poco forte.
Okay.
Forte is not just 75 clicks up from zero. Yeah, forte is loud. So this is less loud. And then he says 4 bars later, excuse me, more loud, più forte. It's very important for us to read what they write. Yeah. So this is something that I would pay attention, and you're not far from it, but I would stay there. When you bring yourself down to diminuendo, I would not develop it. I would stay in this kind of an introverted intensity. Yeah, I would not make crescendo before its time. Moving on, and here my echo comes back. Number 1, bar number 4. Do you see rinforzato?
Yes.
On which beat is it placed?
Beat 1.
And on which beat did you play it?
Beat 2.
Of course. And then 4 bars later, same story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is done. If you listen to recordings, 98% of them will do just that. It doesn't make it right though.
Right.
Yeah, it is awkward. It is absolutely awkward. I would suggest that you use a lot of bow speed on the first beat, and then slow down the bow. Yeah, I do think it is very, very important. Can we try this from?
Yeah.
Good. And what about one second. Okay, let's stop for a second. The first one worked very well. Second, not quite. And can we please play it once again and play only 4 beats per bar, not 5 and not 3.5. Meaning 1, 2, 3, and not.
Yeah.
Good. You will have to work on restraining yourself from. Do not attack. Do not attack. It takes a little bit of discipline. Good. I will play for you 1 bar and make 1 rhythmical mistake. Please tell me what it is.
The last 16th was longer than
Yes.
16th.
So you hear it when I do it.
Yeah.
Do you hear it when you do it?
But not when I do it.
Not when you do it. Okay, good. Point taken.
Yeah.
The reason we do it, I've done exactly the same thing until I realized it. There is a chord after our fingers need to be prepared, so we take a bit of time.
Yeah.
I know you're much better than this. You can jump down to that chord without any problem and maintain the right rhythmical structure. Look at the last line. I presume you're using the same kind of addition here. When you arrive to the top, how much crescendo does he give you on the top E?
He gives me
None.
about 2 beats.
No. On the top E,
Oh.
how much crescendo is there?
From Oh, yeah, no crescendo. Decrescendo.
Decrescendo.
Yeah.
3 bars later.
Decrescendo.
Yes, and we are not going to do it now. I dare you find one, because there is one. One in the whole piece, there is one. Wah! Yeah? This is a very reminiscing. You will see it in uh, many cities or countries that surround a body of water that hosts seagulls. This is seagull cry. Ah, ah, ah. You find it all over Sibelius music, and seagull an incredible romantic symbol in literature and in the arts. This is just his way of painting it. Yeah, so I know it's very violinistic,
Yeah.
and yet it's the opposite of what he writes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yet again we should give him a little bit of respect. Moving on. Where does he begin the accelerando here? On this line.
Well, this is written crescendo, but not.
Correct?
Yeah.
And yet tradition dictates that we play a kind of a hora or sirtaki. Do you know what he writes in the first bar of this passage?
He writes veloce.
What does it mean?
Um,
Think English.
think English.
Velocity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does it mean play slow?
Yeah.
It means the opposite.
Right.
Tempo right away.
Okay.
And of course, we violinists, we are famous for making crescendo and accelerando together. We cannot do one without the other. I'm kidding. Can we try this? Can we try this passage? I think there is enormous emotional power in this moment. If we actually do it in tempo but quiet, and then it grows into that top. Yeah, it overwhelms you. And he does not let go emotionally. He still gives you very intense harmony. Yeah, it's all incredibly painful. But if you do this, it becomes completely different music. Yeah, you certainly can play it in this tempo or that tempo. It's not a problem for you. Try it. Try it in tempo with real determination.
Okay.
Very good. Now think. Let's do it again, and think legato. I see you thinking articulato. Think. I would like to see a little bit more work with fingers. Very good. Yes, you need to get used to it a little bit, but that's in essence that's I think is what's written.
Okay.
All these arpeggiated chords that we're facing now. Here we have a situation of poco stringendo,
Yeah.
which is not accelerando. Stringendo is a lesser term in terms of speeding up. So, and it's only poco. And the reason is that it's a very long one.
Yeah.
It starts at very immediately, 2 bars after the beginning of this largamente. And we need to be. This is something that you maybe even with help of of metronome. Sorry, to calculate ratio, how you will speed up. And what I would really encourage you that you calculate in such a way that you really bring the last bar before tempo primo to actual tempo primo. Ti da dum, dum, lagadiga, dagadiga, 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 dagadaga, dagadum. Yeah, this is it's incredibly important in terms of overall structure. Otherwise, your building will be standing like this. Yeah, we need to arrive back into the groove, so to speak. Okay, I'm skipping ahead just because of the time. Um, Second subject. Could you please give
So
me?
like 2-3 minutes
Oh my God.
warning.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'll
you
try.
asked me to
Yes,
do it,
yes,
so I'm
yes, yes,
doing
yes.
it.
I'm grateful. Um, okay, I will not be asking questions. I'll just give you info.
Okay.
The cornerstone of rhythmical cornerstone of the second subject is this figure, pam pa bam, pam pa bam. We hear it in clarinets for the first time, and here you come. The moment it has been pronounced, pam pa pi da da dee dum, I believe strongly with all my heart that it has to be maintained. Pam pa pam every time.
Okay.
And we think because we've heard 179 recordings of this piece in the last 2.5 weeks that it is fine not to do it. I think it's really, really wrong. So I will show you the problematic spots.
Okay.
Bar before largamente, you are it's in 6/4. Yeah, you have exactly 8 beats in that bar. Mathematically speaking, you have 8 beats. You are playing the last 2 beats exactly twice slower. You play where it's written. Yeah, of course, I'm not preaching to play like a metronome. Of course, this is the height of romanticism. We will be taking liberties. Of course, we play rubato, but we don't multiply by 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is a bit too much. Despite the fact that you will hear your distinguished colleagues do that. Yeah, moving on. There is another one. Not. And again. You see, every 2 bars. Pa pa ba.
Yeah.
Ayadam. Every bar now. He must be thinking about something. Yeah. Now, starting with tom pa bi da da di da da dum. Tell me, where does he begin ritenuto that leads you into the fermata up top on the A flat? Where does the ritenuto begin? In which bar?
Um, the arpeggio.
Arpeggio? Which arpeggio?
Oh, are we this right here?
Aha. I'm asking you to read in which bar he writes word ritenuto.
Oh, I see. What is it? I don't see it
You know why?
because it's not in there.
Because there is one. He is letting the air out of the balloon, or whatever we call it, the release of energy. He does it with intensity. Look at the way it's written. It's phenomenal. He starts with accents. Now same but tenuto. A little less, even less, and celli begin their ascent. Pom 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 bim pom pom, and they should not be taking any time here. You are not beginning anything. You are continuing. And again, guess what? And this is where that fermata is a miracle. When you arrive in tempo and with crescendo, mind you, which you did exactly the opposite. You started. And he writes. Time stops. And then he writes something amazing. He does not say accelerando. What does he say?
Poco a poco meno moderato.
Is moderato tempo?
No.
No, it's mood. Of course, there will be a little bit of speed up, clearly.
Yeah.
But there will not, if you flip, what is it, 4 pages forward? 2 pages, pardon me, and look at the same place in recap. There, it says poco a poco stringendo, al tu, allegro molto vivace, tu e faster tempo. Coda is in faster tempo. He was a smart guy, he knew what he was writing. Yeah, so get to that fermata, stand there, freeze, and basically in tempo start coming down that mountain. It's up. I think this music is absolutely mesmerizing, and we make out of it hot soup, which it shouldn't be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to tell you, regard it as a book.
Yes.
Read it, and if you don't understand something, stop, translate, read again, like we do with books. If you read books, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Good. Bravo. Beautiful.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Beautiful. Bravo. So, if anybody ever tells you he or she knows how to play Bach, pack your suitcase and run.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
I will try.
Okay.
If anyone ever tells you that he or she knows how to play Bach, pack your suitcase and run. So all I will do, I will tell you how I see it today. Maybe I have seen it this way for some time, but it's not relevant. But very possible that tomorrow everything will change. I see you are using an edition that I consider to be very unfortunate. Actually, I consider any edition to be very unfortunate. Simply because you are playing a fantasy on themes of Bach rather than knowing what he wrote. I would really encourage you to buy. I mean, there is manuscript, but it's a horrible print. You can barely read anything. I say this with all my respect to Mr. Galamian, who was obviously an extraordinary teacher. But I don't think, I personally don't have enough. You know what chutzpah is? Guts. I don't have enough guts to cross over Bach's articulation and add mine on top. I would feel very funny doing, and it's what's done there. So I would encourage you, since obviously you are intending to spend your life with violin, and some part of it is going to be playing these extraordinary works. It's good to have a good edition. It's a good investment. Yeah, I can recommend Bärenreuther. They've done a very good job of just clean copy of what is in the manuscript on the printed page. Yeah, it's very, very nice. Except they allowed themselves one editing, which I disagree with in this movement. So a few things. You play beautifully. You play very musically, very dramatic. You have a lot of drama in you. It's wonderful. And yet, I can't help thinking that you play as if last 50 years, if not more, of research into practice of music making at the time of Baroque, that it has never happened. You play as if you were stuck in the glorious 1930s, which I adore. I truly adore. You look at my violin case; all these people's pictures are there, but I can no longer do this. I can't pretend I don't know. I can't pretend that what has been discovered is neglectable and not worth my attention. I really think that I personally, and I would suggest that you maybe at least consider that we should look at what has been done and what we know today closely. So I will start with reading the score. What is the time signature?
It's 4/4.
Wrong.
What?
Wrong.
Oh,
Not 4/4. Common time.
right.
Which Bach was aware of number 4. And if he wanted to, he could have written 4/4. Yet he chooses to write letter C.
Right.
It suggests immediately a kind of a phraseological unification of a bar. So, and that brings, even if it were 4/4, what is the time signature? If I were to write a dictation after you're playing, how many beats did you have per bar?
Well, I mean, taking phrasing into consideration. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if we don't take phrasing into consideration, as my teacher in Juilliard, Miss DeLay, used to say, honey, then you should work in a bank. Of course, of course, we put that's our first consideration. When you were playing, how do you count?
Oh, well, I started with 16th notes, but I try and think of a bigger beat, now.
I wish you did. At times you played in 8. Most of the time you played in 16. Yeah, which is 8 would also be, in my opinion, a mistake, and 16 is just a bigger mistake. You realize if he wanted this to be written as you play or in 8th, he could have substituted the first chord with a whole note and then go with 8th notes instead of 30 seconds.
Right.
Nothing would have happened. It would have been the same music. Would be actually easier for us to read.
Right.
Yet he goes through all this trouble writing out 32nd, 64th, all these small values. There must be a reason why. Yeah, so I do think that we need to consider that this is in 4, and I dare say that you are playing it almost twice slower than necessary. Do you know what Adagio means?
Yes, like 90 range.
No. That you know that metronome was not invented in Bach's times.
That's right.
There was no 90 on 174. What does the word Adagio means?
Means steady, I think.
Not at all. Adagio is actually 2 words in Italian. Agio, which means as you please, as comfortable. It's close to ad libitum. As it's comfortable. It's a comfortable tempo. It is used as an indication of a slower, nota bene, slower tempo, not slow. Slow is largo. Slow, grave. That's slow. We have those later in the book, but not here. So I would really suggest that you consider that it is really in 4. As a matter of principle, at least give it a try at one point. Yeah, this is wait. We know for a fact that they did not have our instruments. The bow that they used was very different from what we have today, so it looked more like this. And there is one thing that we cannot do on this bow, or reasonably cannot, is sustain to the tip. And we are, me and you, I'm sure, from Day one, we're educated, sustain and crescendo to the tip, or else. Maybe he would have been on the moon from happiness if he heard something like that. But he certainly didn't expect it. So when he wrote that chord, he by default expected that it will decay. That there is no other way of playing it on that bow. He expected under all circumstances that an up bow would be a crescendo. And again, etc., etc. So, with that in mind, can we try? And give yourself some kind of a mental directive. Do not subdivide beats. Yes, it will still be slow, I promise. Good. Now it is in proper 8. It's no longer in 16th. I would love it to be in 4. Let's try. Sorry, I know I'm peeking on you, but let's try it.
Yeah, that's good.
I will stop you for a second.
Yeah.
Do you hear yourself subdividing? Instead of
Right.
yeah? Good, wonderful, much better, really. Now we have. I will concentrate a lot on this opening, simply because there are many rules that we can go over here, and you will either find them useful or pack them and send them off.
Sounds good.
Would you agree that we have 4 harmonical structures here? Right?
Yes, right.
Which one will be the strongest one?
Maybe where the phrase is leading, the last one?
This.
Yeah,
Yes.
the last one.
Good. I vehemently disagree. This in harmony. What is this? This chord?
The one at the end,
Yes.
the G minor chord,
Yes. Which is what is this G
which
minor?
is 1 tonic.
1. Tonic. Good. We speak the same language. We are. This is. You will find this rule in books from Leopold Mozart to and earlier. We are not to emphasize resolutions. The tension will be always the highlight. Resolution will be always, unless it is the last piece of the work.
Right.
So if we follow, and this is kind of rule, like we use forks to eat. We don't eat with hands. I mean, we could, but we really shouldn't, and we use napkins, etc. The same thing here. We don't emphasize resolutions. So the most intense harmony will take precedent for being the highest point of the phrase. In this case, that's your high point. So I would suggest that we release. That's one. Two, now that you are playing it almost 4 times faster than you used to. I think it's really unnecessary. Bach played violin, and he expected that many notes to be fit onto this bow, or shorter. Yeah, and yet again, he was no fool like Sibelius. They were all brilliant people. So we might consider. Yeah, let's start once again. Let's build clearly. One, of course, it's an opening. This is your big statement. Tension, tension, release. Yeah, and in between, it's almost an improvisation. Let's try. Once again. You managed it, almost managed it, even after spending half of the bone. You certainly can do this. Go.
You want me to start there? Is that what we said?
Yes, yes. And we just agreed that we will not be emphasizing.
Yes.
Remember? So high. Good. Good. And tell me now, why do you decide to stay on B flat? How is it more important to you than the?
Because that's where the melody goes, I believe. That's like the
Yes, the
melodic
problem
thing.
is that I agree, melody goes there, but this is polyphony.
Right.
Yeah? And
Right.
with voicing. This is a written out improvisation. It's not a melody.
Right.
Yeah. So if we stay on top voice, definitely. Okay. Next subject. Chords. I don't know how it is printed in Mr. Galar, or I should say I don't remember because I used to use it also.
Vadim, I'm giving you the
Thank you.
4-minute warning. Sorry.
Okay, quick. I will tell you right away, even to extent of showing it to you. Maybe it's different in your edition. Look at the way chords are written and the direction of flags on the note. You will notice that inevitably the bass voice on chords is always written direction down, and all other chords are written direction up. You see that? Yeah, you will find sometimes when bass and tenor or baritone is an octave, then they will be written both down. Yeah. Otherwise, it is always 1, 1 and 3, or 1 and 2. We know it. This is how they played. The beat always would fall on the bass, not on the not. It would be also was always 1, 2, 2, and it would always be played alone. Why? Because we need it's a quote unquote accompaniment. We need comfort of beating. 3, 4, 1, and 3. instead of as far as I see it today, bass is to be played by itself. Yeah, this kind of oops, my English, come back. This kind of breaking of chords belongs in a very different era. There, by all means. Here, things are different. With this bow, I mean, it's possible, of course. It's very awkward. But this, it's natural. And you can fit everything on here.
Right.
Think about it as this is your metronome, the bass. And when you go on to play the rest of the sonata, in the fugue, especially also in the Siciliana, it is also very, very, very important that the base of the chord is always your drum section. Yeah, and it is to be played by itself. It's standalone. Not okay, and if you combine all of this together, the notion that you are to release to the tip, you are to increase to the frog, that we are not to subdivide when he's clearly not intending us to subdivide. Yeah, that the heartbeat belongs to the bass and not to the soprano. It becomes a very different picture of sound. It becomes, in my experience, it becomes much more transparent. Yeah, it becomes. It also, I think it's much clearer. Yeah, what we are. I played Bach exactly that way, like you do. I can relate to it fully. This is a hot soup, a beautiful stew. You know, it's pleasurable. I'm not arguing, and this is. It's not just great music. This is what humanity have to say for itself, to save itself, if one day. This will be great no matter what. Yeah, I'm just interested in knowing what did he expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will never pretend to know, but I'm trying to find my own logic. And I will leave you with one little thing. Consider that this is actually not G minor.
Consider that it's not in G minor. Is that what you said?
No, it's not. Look at the key signature. I don't know what is written in Galamian. How many flats are there?
There's just one B flat.
Just one. And normally in G minor, how many flats do we have?
Oh my god.
It's two.
Thank you. My
Yeah,
brain-
one flat would be either F major or D minor. Yeah. So what
Yeah, right.
Bach forgot?
No.
You will see that every E flat. It would be B flat and E flat. Yeah.
Right.
But you will see that every E flat is an accidental in incidental. No, accident.
Right.
Every E flat is always written next to the note. It is because it's not G minor. It's G Dorian with high 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there is one note that is wrong. In bar 3, if you look in the manuscript, that E flat does not exist. It is you can check in the manuscript.
Yeah, I will.
There is a beautiful. You can look at. I'm sure you can find it in Strand magazine. At one point, Andrew Mancy wrote a beautiful article in Strand called "To E or Not to E," and he talks about that E flat in natural situation gives very, very thoughtful arguments pro and contra. Uh, I just think it's good to know.
Yes.
I'm not suggesting that you now start playing E natural. It would be absolutely legitimate.
Yeah.
But there are arguments. Think about it. But talk to your theory professor. Yeah,
Interesting. Very interesting.
it's an interesting subject.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Great, bravo. Do you hear me? Okay, fantastic. Wow. I have to tell you that my relationship to Paganini is very distant. Probably one of the most distant ones I have with any composer. So I will not be pretending to know this music. Actually, I don't know it at all. But there are some technical things that I think I could be kind of helpful. Uh, you do realize that it is a Sicilian in its essence. Tim pa pam pam pa pim pa pam pam. Yeah, I would first of all, wherever possible, this is a very mechanical sounding caprice. Yeah, for quite a long period stretches of time. So whenever there is a possibility without losing your grounding and orientation, to lighten it up a little bit and to give it a little bit of shall I say lilt would be wonderful if again without damaging the technical side of it. Uh, why don't we start a little bit from the beginning? First of all, your intonation is generally very, very good. When you play octaves, I'm sure you've heard it. Leaning to the bottom voice. I would do it much more if you do. I don't know if you are trying to. I would try much harder to an extent of overpowering the top voice. Top voice will always come through. Yeah, just because it is an octave higher, and most of the time it will be on the E string. We use metal strings. It will, even if you glide on the string, it will still project at least as well as the A string. But you know that by amplifying the lower voice, we can avoid some questions. Yeah, let's try a little from the beginning. I would love to find a little bit of a dancing quality while it's there. Wonderful. Very, very good. Would you mind releasing the dotted notes a little bit more? Rather, it's a little bit too persistent, and I would take a little more bow on the upbeat. Kind of propel the bow into the downbeat. Give yourself, be a conductor for yourself. Give yourself and play. Fantastic, fantastic. I would stay in forte until the very end of this phrase. Tim ba bam pim ba ba tim, and then lighten up. Tyra, tim, ba, bum, bum. You know there is piano. Yeah, let's do it. It will at least give us a little bit of something to hold on to musically. Yeah, otherwise it's quite musically suffocating. Besides me, violinist, being impressed with your staccato, another violinist, you realize that those who are listening to us, they couldn't care less. They don't know what is staccato, and they would not be able to say, "Oh my God, he plays down low, quasi ricochet, quasi staccato." Yeah, I am impressed, of course, but there will be two of those in the whole on a good day. Most often, none. So we need to give them a little something a little different, not just staccato. Just play the last do re mi fa sol la sol. Great, great. I would try to show us that it is one and then two. Tim, papa, pim. The first beat, you know, 6/8 means two. Yeah, and second beat would always be lighter. Lam, pa, pam, pa, pam, pam, rather than tim, pa, pam, pa, pam. Yeah, let's take it from piano. Leave yourself a little bit room for pianissimo. Great, wonderful. It to me it has more character this way, and it's not gravely. I mean, it is difficult. I know it, but you can certainly do it. Yeah, good. Your staccato is generally fantastic. Yeah, it's articulated, it's sparkling, and I love the fact that you're using flying staccato. I think for character of this piece, it's great. Um, I am a little bit concerned, and I don't know really if I'm hearing the reality. Of course, it has a little bit too harsh of a beginning of every note. Yeah, and I'm afraid now to suggest to to shake you off balance and make things worse. But I want you to try if you don't mind. Uh, I would like you to use 7% more. Yeah, in general, when you are playing staccato, a little bit more bow, which will be because very often, at least by looking, your staccato looks like you are already playing it on one spot. Your bow is not even moving. And it has harshness, which is, I mean, many people will kill to be able to do what you do. But since I was called here to try to improve something, I'm going to torture you. Uh, I would start. You always begin your staccato passages rather low on the bow. Maybe it has to do with your stick, with the way it bounces. Just to try. Can we go a little bit further? So you can use a little bit more of horizon rather than only vertical. Yeah, maintain the same. I can see that you are using a bit of stiff muscle here, and I would do exactly the same. There's nothing to change. Use exactly the same tools, just a little bit wider bow. Yeah, let's try. We'll take from wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable. How do you feel? How do you feel? Awkward, really. Looks very convincing. When you are a little bit, I do think it sounds more elegant. At least, I mean, God knows what you actually sound like. I don't know. I mean, you have microphone, I have speakers. And we have the internet. It sounded a little bit less harsh to me. Um, tell me if I'm wrong. You feel awkward when you're passing the middle of the bow. It starts to wiggle a little bit. Yeah. We try it. If it doesn't work, you forget you ever seen me in your life, and you keep playing like you did. Okay. I want you to the way you play staccato. I can see that your palm, your fingers, are leading the bow forward. I want you to try to imagine that it is your elbow that is pushing the bow. Yeah, elbow is propelling it forward. Rather than. Do I make sense? I mean, do you understand what I'm asking you? Yeah, try. Do not, sorry, sorry. Do not raise it very high. You don't need to do it. Just the motion, the kick should start from here. Don't change your position. Your position is very, very good, except for your shoulder rest, but that's a different story. Try it again. Good. Okay, so now I see down motion, descending scales are easier, ascending are more difficult. Yeah? Try as you are ascending, make sure that it's again about elbow, that your elbow is supporting your string cross. Yeah, bring the elbow when you are going down the scale, it works very well. But when you are returning, it sort of schleps behind. Yeah, try again. Always have elbow as your driving force. Good. Another thing, especially when things are getting difficult, you're taking your chin and pushing down. Yeah, you're trying to hold your violin. You already have a contraption here. Don't make it worse. Uh, can you try to release your neck? Exactly the same thing. Go back to the way you played. Yeah, but don't push here. Release everything, especially your chin, your neck. Try. Good. Yes. Okay. It was a kind of combination between your old crunchiness, but with a little bit more air in the sound. Let's leave it like this. And when you play it, try to besides going for ultimate articulation, try to still find a little bit of sound in it. Yeah, for lack of a better word. When you are playing things like this, all of this, you are using a lot of hand. Yeah, you're using whole. Why not a little bit of wrist? You play it very, very well. It looks like you're working too hard. Yeah, you're using as a result of this, you're using too much bow. Yeah, and even though with that your articulation is quite good. Can you play one of those passages? Just try to use a bit of wrist to cross strings rather than whole arm. Good. Same thing, but in tune. Good. How difficult was that? Not at all. Just a little bit more economical. That's all. Listen, bravo. This is as a violinist, I appreciate it very much. As a musician, I cannot say that I'm getting a kick out of it. But it's my taste against your taste. All right. Great job. Bravo. The floor is yours. Bravo, beautiful. Good. How long have you been working on this piece?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I asked how long you've been working on Zigeunerweisen.
I think since January. I took a bit of a break from it, like, in April, but I've been working on it.
Okay, very good. So you're familiar. It's not a new work. Okay, very good. Few things. You're very talented. You're very brave too, which is fantastic. You take risks. This is all good. But I want you to be safe. Yeah, I want you to keep taking risks, but I want you to be safe also. So, few general things. I am worried about your vibrato.
Okay.
I'm worried about your vibrato for a couple of reasons. One is it's not particularly varied. Yeah, you basically use the same kind of medium speed, and that's about it. And you vibrate. I don't want to say randomly, but you vibrate whenever it's comfortable for you. Yeah, am I not too far from the truth? Yeah. So certain positions, certain fingers don't feel very comfortable, so you don't really vibrate. I think you are better than that. Yeah. I would like you to start maybe from after the immediate introduction, and just pay attention to the way you vibrate from here. Pay attention to the way we vibrate and use vibrato as connecting tissue. Yeah, not just something to color, but also something that connects one note to another. Yeah, understand? Let's try. Okay, much better. Can you please close your music? Or turn the stand around. Do something so you wouldn't see it. Okay, and let's do the same thing. I promise you don't need it for the next 8 bars. Very good. Wonderful. It is much more connected now. What I'm looking for now is also that your bow would support what your left hand now is doing. So you have a little bit of habit of doing this. I'm exaggerating. Not you're not playing it like this, but it's close. So all the time think, even when you're playing separate bows, think that this is all legato. Let's try it once again. And oh, by the way, this shift, how scary is this on scale 1 to 10?
Not very scared.
Not very scary. Can you tell me how are you doing this? Are you traveling on third finger? Are you traveling before and then land on third finger? What's going on?
I think, yeah, I'm traveling, like, I think with first finger and then landing on third finger.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck. No, it's admirable. It's much more difficult. Please. This is that's much easier.
Okay. So, like,
But it does not mean that you should you should go the easy way. You can be the hero and do the most difficult shift. Please. Good. Listen to this. Listen to this. What's wrong?
yeah, we're like doing the thing where it's like really.
And you, yes. And what else?
You're slowing down.
I'm trying to play slowly so you would pay attention. What's wrong?
I don't know.
You vibrate every other note.
Okay.
No vibrato. Yes vibrato. No vibrato. Yes vibrato. Let's vibrate all the notes. Right, just play this. Do you hear how differently this sounds? Yeah, this really sounds like a beautiful fiddle.
Yeah.
Good. Can we keep it like this?
Yes.
Good.
Play from there.
No, let's now go back to beginning. I want you to start the piece in such a way that all those who are sitting in the audience and reading their brochures, reading your bio, looking at your picture, etc., that the moment they hear your first note, they go, huh? Yeah, I need you to, and there will be, by the time you start playing, there will be a couple who are sleeping already, the usual classical concert crowd. Wake them up.
Okay.
Okay? Very good. Wonderful. Just have patience. Don't come in early.
Okay.
Yeah? I would use a little bit more bow on the first note. Get the violin to ring for you. And I would not rip the bow. Because ultimately you go to the last C, right? So let's do it again. Good, wonderful. Now, let's still go back to vibrato and talk about it. When you play vibrato, when you think just abstractly, about vibrato. Do you vibrate from the note up or from the note down? Meaning, let's say you vibrate A. Do you vibrate or
I vibrate up.
exactly? That's exactly what you do, and this is where you and I will not agree. I strongly believe that vibrato is down, should be down. A couple of reasons. Number one, your sound becomes unfocused when you are vibrating up, as opposed to I don't know how much microphone picks up. One, two, on violin physically, it's much more tempting to do this than this. And your intonation is suffering, yeah, because of your vibrato. If I can suggest that you maybe, if you have 15 minutes a day to spare, I would suggest vibrato exercises. They are very, very boring. You put metronome on something very, very slow. Let's see. 50. That's perfect. Do you hear it? And that's what we do. Make sure that your thumb is not pushing. When you are comfortable with this, you move to triplets. Then quadruplets. Sextuplets. 8. Etc. etc. This will give you. I'm not going to torture you online, but it's something to consider. It will give you control of the vibrato, and if you do it this way, you will also get a habit of vibrating down. And by control, I mean control of speed of vibrato and its intensity. Yeah, I know it's super boring. Yeah, and there are many things that we have to do to play well that are boring. So it's just one of them, right? Think about it. I would suggest that you at least entertain this idea. Yeah. Let's talk about your fast part. If I was a genie in a bottle, what would you wish for?
To play it like perfectly.
What do we mean by perfectly? You know perfection doesn't exist.
Yes.
No one plays perfectly.
To play it in tune and to not miss any of my notes and to get all my shifts.
Okay, this is actually quite reasonable. I think it starts from coordination between the hands, because quite often when you're, at least what I saw now, when you were playing it, even if your left hand was doing fine in terms of shifting, the right and left did not agree between themselves, and that very often mixed up things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, both intonation and especially articulation. I will torture you now if you don't mind. Yeah. So what I would like to do is for you to teach your left hand to be always in front of the right hand. I will show you what I mean. You see that every next finger is placed on the string in rhythm well before the bow plays it. I would again use metronome for that. I'm sorry for giving you a boring masterclass. Uh, and get this. Let's try it now, of course, without metronome. From here. No, late. Your note B was late, and so were all of your. When you go up, it's wonderful. You're catching very quickly. Have you done anything like this before?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
When did you do it last time for Zigeunerweisen?
I haven't done it for Zigeunerweisen. I've done it for other stuff.
I see. I'm sorry to break this to you. We need to do it always. When you are going up, that's perfect. But when you are going down, it's not as good. And this brings me to the next subject of left hand articulation. There are two ways of articulating in the left hand. Which are they? Here is one. Fingers strongly falling on the string. What else can we do to articulate?
We can use our bow to articulate.
No, only left hand.
Okay. I do not know.
Yes, you do. I will tell you, and you will say, "Ah, of course." Think.
Lifting off the fingerboard?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what you are not doing. Even now playing slowly. Now lift was kind of, well, okay, I'll lift. Yeah, your fingers did not spring off the string. Let's try it again and make sure that when articulation comes from lifting previous finger in order to let the next finger sound and speak, that this happens as actively as when your fingers are falling on the string. Once again. Very good. Once again, your first finger is not active enough, especially when you come to B. That B is not coming on time. Once again. Once again, make sure you're falling on the right place. Okay, let's play from beginning just by yourself in tempo and stop where you stopped now. Just this passage. Go. Now really in tempo and let your bow bounce. Good. How does it feel?
Much better.
Much better. It took us how long?
5 minutes?
Less. Less.
2
The
minutes?
problem,
1?
the problem is that this is called muscle memory. Yeah, this is like going to the gym. You in order for muscles to absorb information, you have to do it over and over and over and over. So this feeling will disappear in 5 minutes. But if you keep practicing like this, it will I know it for a fact. It will help. What I would like you to do, if possible, next, just do an experiment. Next week, for the next week, practice this last two pages of Zigeunerweisen with metronome, with this kind of preparation, and really, especially paying attention to the lifting of the string, and spend half an hour just on this. The third day, play it a little bit faster, and then go back to slower. And then after fifth day, start going up the tempo. Just raise the metronome. You will see in a week you will have not only, of course, your quality of playing will be much better. You will have reserve above your head. You will not feel like you're playing at the top of your abilities. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? Yeah. Good. Vibrato down. Prepare fingers and wake them up. Make them stop reading. All right. Bravo.
Thank you, Vadim, so much. Do you want to take a minute or two for a couple of questions?
We can take.
So I'll turn you around.
Yeah.
Because you're on a laptop here, so I will turn you around so you can see everybody.
But still, we're using this microphone on the computer, so if you can come up.
Yeah. Okay. So, any questions for Mr. GLUZMAN from any of you right now? Yeah, sure. That's a good idea.
So I have a question. What is a skill that you feel like we should learn in addition to learning our instruments?
Great question. First thing that comes to my mind is score reading. And I don't mean particularly or reading of an orchestral score. I mean skill that we actually see what is on the page, and ability to analyze and to read the message that composers leave us, especially when composers are no longer with us. Yes, theoretically, leaving composers, we can pick up a phone or send an email or somehow ask, what is it that you want me to do? In case of Sibelius, well, that's it. We can only rely on our education. I think this is something that is a little bit lost, and we talked about it actually in Sibelius Concerto. We play by ear very often. Yeah, it's due to something wonderful. It's due to all these recordings that we have, which is wealth. It's extraordinary that we have access to this, and today it really is at the tip of our fingers. But it is also a destructive invention, because we start relying on what we've heard and assume that what we heard is right. I think it's just boring. Make your own mistakes. They're better than somebody else's. They're more fun, at least.
There's more variety too.
Absolutely. Add to the pool of mistakes.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's very cool. I like that.
Anyone else? Maybe while people get their think about questions, maybe tell us how your pandemic year was, because this is really the first time we have this many people in one room, and we all had quite the traumatic year. And tell us where you're at and how you fared.
Well, we just finished our festival here in Chicago. We had about 300 people in the audience. No masks and no distancing, and I noticed that they all came out of that church alive, including. Well, I'm assuming since it was allowed, the things are improving here. Well, how pandemic went, I learned how to roast almonds. I think it's a very, very important skill. for any violinist. Um, I discovered for myself Dunis exercises and Shrad.
Feel sorry for you.
I feel sorry for myself. But since I'm not getting any younger, when I had stretches of time of you know 3 4 months with no performances, a question of being in shape is indeed becoming important, and roasting almonds does not contribute to staying. Uh, So I discovered that, and I found a few exercises of Tunis that are really wonderful, simply for warm up and finger strength. Very very good. I'm still yet to graduate to scales. I'm exactly where I was with scales, where I was last time when we had this conversation. But other than that, I did not feel the need to discover new repertoire. I instead went and just took random concerti or sonatas or whatever from my library, those that I've been playing for years, opened them and started playing, asking myself every bar, do I really want to do it like this? And oh boy, what I have discovered about myself.
Believe it. Wow. Well, it's just been a crazy year for everybody, and hearing how everybody has managed this is really interesting. Um,
Well, I personally decided that I will not be taking this pandemic close to heart. If it wants to exist, it's welcome to exist besides me, and that's how I reacted. The first opportunity there was to go on tour, I did, and as you see, I still have two hands, and other limbs are present. Uh, I don't like hysteria in general.
yeah. Well, I think we have time for just like one quick question. If anybody has one. Yeah.
Would you talk briefly just about playing without a shoulder rest?
I knew this was going to happen.
Okay. 2 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you in short that I used to play with shoulder rest, and my last shoulder rest was this horrific contraption. I don't. It still exists. I see it on kids sometimes. It's this thing that goes around the shoulder and hooks onto your back, basically. Um, Violin was built to be placed well first on your chest, then with development and technique it traveled to the shoulder. But the point of producing sound for your right hand has always been at a certain level. With shoulder rest, this level went this way. So you're right. I'm exaggerating just to make a point. With violin being that many centimeters higher than it's meant to be, yeah, your right hand has to overly compensate to reach the string. The moment it does not, your elbow becomes below the waterline, and then you start shying away from the frog because you're afraid of this. Whereas for me, I'm not saying that it is impossible to avoid this with shoulders. No, you have to overly compensate. You have to lift the weight superficially. For me, it's much easier because my violin is lower. So I still have to lift the weight at the frog, but it is just much more natural. Uh, the main this is what the sound production, of course, is my main concern. Another is that the violin is fixated in one position and you have nowhere to go. Yeah, you're not free to maneuver with the violin according to the minute details that you need at this very moment. It's basically freedom versus prison. And the notion that it comes from the idea that violin needs to be held. This is something that I have a problem with. I don't think violin needs to be held. Violin needs to be balanced. It's a very light object. Yeah, there is. I don't know what's the weight, but it's nothing. For human to hold the violin is not an issue. So balancing it between the shoulder or collarbone, whatever is, however you are built, and the hand. I know in many books by violin theoreticians, it says that God forbid you hold up the violin with the left hand. It's prohibited. I disagree. We don't need to grab, of course. We don't need to squeeze, but support most definitely. Sometimes with the shoulder, sometimes with your posture, sometimes with the hand. There are gazillion of things you can do, but having shoulder rest limits you to this one position, and that's it. That's how you are born. That's how you die. I think it's again boring.
You may have the. I had the experience when I got rid of my shoulder rest, which was the chamber music encounters with Isaac Stern in Jerusalem, and he went around on the first time. I'm sure you could talk about that too. He went around with a black garbage bag, and and everybody had to put the shoulder rest in, and then you had to play your piece.
Yeah,
Live on Israeli radio. I remember this very clearly. It was traumatic, but he made a point.
he made that same point to me on a number of occasions. Last time he actually managed, since I'm very hard-headed, it took him a few screaming sessions with me. But the last one was, I mean, Isaac raising his voice was very imposing.
Very scary. Yeah.
Yes. And for 17 or 18 years old, oh my God, this was something. So when he, this was, yeah, I was 18. I was in Dallas already. He told me in no uncertain terms that if he sees this unprinted word after that again, and this is all in Russian, of course, that if he will see this again, he will never see me again. He will never listen to me play. That made an impression on me.
Exactly. So, but yeah.
But all joking aside, I really could not be more grateful. I will be thanking him as long as I play violin.
Well, I'm sure we can talk a lot more about that, but I don't want to impose on your time. So, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody who played. Yesterday we took a group picture of people who played with you on the screen. Are you up for
Let's
that?
do it.
So
Sure.
you'll just be a little flat, and everybody
No
else.
problem. Especially sideways, that would be great.
So I can take the picture.
Hi, Vadim.
Hi, Kasha, how are you doing?
I just wanted to say hi. Good to see you. Thank you for talking about the shoulder rest.
Oh,
I love you.
you know it's my pleasure, right?
I know you did it. I know you did it for me. Thank you.
Of course.
You guys crowd the television. Okay, can you say something so the camera Vadim, say it one word, like
Speaking. I'm here.
say shoulder rest here. Sorry, now I said something. You say shoulder rest.
Shoulder rest.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll send you this so you.
Please.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here in Salt Lake, and we're really grateful. I think it was a fantastic masterclass. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm back in I should be back in November.
Really?
Yep.
Great. Fantastic. Let's talk. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.